Come on, here we go. Mark Anthony.
We see it every time. That makes one of us. Ideal. Makes one of us.
Or did I take Jillian? Are you doing a crop walk?
You told me to do crop walk.
Oh,
but
Where's the
I'm
one
fine
with
either
you
way.
on my back?
all right.
So
You
much
do it,
better.
I'll get.
So much better. Oh, well. There's a lot of people here tonight.
Good evening. I want to call this meeting of the Durham City Council to order on April 1st, 2019. I want to ask you if you would please first join me for a moment of silent meditation. Thank you. And now I'm going to ask Councilmember Reese to lead us in the pledge to the flag.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and colleagues. Good evening, everyone. If it's your practice to do so, and if you're able, please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Now we're going to move, now we're going to have the roll call. Madam Clerk?
Mayor Schul,
Here?
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson,
Here.
Councilmember Alston.
Here.
Councilmember Caballero.
Here.
Councilmember Freeman.
Present.
Councilmember Middleton.
Here.
Councilmember Reese.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And now we're going to move into our ceremonial items. A lot of great ceremonial items tonight. I'm very excited about them, and I'm going to ask Councilmember Middleton to please join me for the first ceremonial item, which is 2019 Crime Victims' Rights Week Proclamation. And I'm going to ask Major Sarvis to, hello, Major Sarvis, how are you? You brought some of your staff, great.
Just a few.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
And I'm going to ask Councilmember Middleton if he would read the proclamation, and Major Sarvis, I hope you'll have some words for us.
My thanks to His Honor the Mayor. Good evening, everyone. It's my honor to read of this proclamation. 2019 Crime Victims' Rights Week Proclamation, presented to Major Ed Sarvis of the Durham Police Department. Whereas crime can leave a lasting impact on any person, regardless of age, national origin, race, creed, religion, gender, sexual orientation, immigration, or economic status. And whereas with the unwavering support of their communities and victim service providers behind them, survivors will be empowered to face their grief, loss, fear, anger, and hope without fear of judgment, and will feel understood, heard, and respected. And whereas serving victims and rebuilding their trust restores hope to victims and survivors, as well as supports thriving communities. And whereas the formation of the City of Durham Police Department's Victim Witness Services Unit in 1997 demonstrates the department's strong commitment to providing essential services to victims and witnesses of crimes, and to ensure that they are treated with respect, compassion, fairness, and dignity. And whereas Victim Witness Services Unit is hereby dedicated to strengthening victims and survivors in the aftermath of crime, building resilience in our communities and our victim responders, and working for a better future for all victims and survivors. And whereas National Crime Victims' Rights Week provides an opportunity to recommit to ensuring that all victims of crime, especially those who are challenging to reach or serve, are offered culturally and linguistically accessible and appropriate services in the aftermath of crime. Now, therefore, I, Stephen M. Schewel, Mayor of the City of Durham, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim the week of April 7th through the 13th, 2019 as National Crime Victims' Rights Week in Durham, and hereby encourage the Durham community to support and, where feasible, attend local events and activities that will commemorate Durham's 2019 observance of National Crime Victims' Rights Week. Visit the Durham Police Department website at www.durhampolice.com for event listings. Witness my hand and the corporate seal of the City of Durham, North Carolina, this, the first day of April 2019.
Thank you, Councilmember Middleton, Mayor, other members of council. We believe that providing services and resources to victims of crime and their families is one of the most important things we can do as a city and as a police department. I want to take just a minute to introduce everyone to the team that provide this support day in and day out. Joining me tonight are Latasha Bembury, Lucas Strout, and Jennifer Henchy. The entire team is bilingual and are able to provide a unique support to the victims and their families. This is a difficult job, and we're very grateful for the job that they do. We also appreciate the support you show for their work by this recognition. We invite everyone to a special gathering entitled Rays of Hope next Thursday evening at 6 o'clock at our new headquarters to hear inspiring stories of resilience and strength from people within our city. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you to Major Sarvis and the team. It's great to hear that the whole team is bilingual. I didn't know that, and that's fantastic. Wonderful. Our next ceremonial item is the Mayor's Challenge for Water Conservation Proclamation. And I'm going to ask Don Greeley and Wayne Drop. They might join me here for this proclamation. This is National Mayor's Challenge for Water Conservation. Whereas the City of Durham continues to explore ways to manage residential water consumption and to inspire its residents to preserve and protect our natural resources, especially our water supplies. And whereas the City of Durham as an EPA WaterSense partner encourages our community to conserve water and to be water efficient whenever possible. And whereas the Weiland Foundation has sponsored the National Mayor's Challenge for Water Conservation for 8 years, promoting healthy competition among cities of all sizes across the nation to reduce water use by the adoption of water-efficient behaviors and practices. And whereas from April 1 to 30, 2019, the city wishes to motivate its customers and its neighboring communities to participate in the challenge by making a series of online pledges to reduce their impact on the environment by decreasing water use and striving to be more water efficient for 1 year. Now, therefore, I, Stephen M. Schewel, Mayor of the City of Durham, North Carolina, proclaim that the city is an active participant in the Weiland Foundation National Mayor's Challenge for Water Conservation and encourage all Durham residents to take the Conservation Challenge between April 1st, 2019 and April 30th, 2019 by making a series of online pledges at www.mywaterpledge.com to reduce their impact on the environment and see immediate savings in their utility bills. This proclamation shall be effective immediately. Witness my hand and the corporate seal of the City of Durham, North Carolina, this the first day of April 2019, Stephen M. Schewel, Mayor. And I'm going to now offer the microphone to Wayne Drop. Just kidding. April Fools. to Don Greeley. Don.
Thank you, Mayor Schewel, members of council. On behalf of Wayne Drop and the entire Department of Water Management, I would like to thank you, Mayor Schewel, and the City Council for your enthusiastic support of the Mayor's Challenge for Water Conservation campaign. Although the pledges are simple and easy, their impact can be immense. The challenge looks at the ways our water use will affect the future of our communities and from how we grow food to reducing polluted runoff. Here in Durham, we know that our residents are very conscious about the water and environmental issues and are always ready to do their part to save our precious natural resources. Not only is this the right thing to do, but there's an opportunity to win some great prizes if you participate. Residents have until April 30th to pledge at www.mywaterpledge.com. Make sure to choose Durham, North Carolina in the drop-down menu, and then track Durham's status by visiting durhamsaveswater.org or follow us on Durham Water on Twitter and Facebook. We know that Durham is #1 in a lot of areas, and we hope this year to top last year's third-place finish, so we hope you all participate. Once again, Mayor, thank you for the proclamation.
Thank you, Wayne Drop. All right, great. So let me just second what Don said. Please go to www.mywaterpledge.com, and you have the month of April to do it. You can drop down menu, you can find Durham, and you can make your pledge about how you're going to reduce water use. And as Don said, we were 3rd in the country last year. We like to be first in things. So please take this opportunity during this month to do it. It's also a lot of fun, and so I encourage everybody to participate in that. Now, along those very similar lines, we have a zero waste initiative that was just begun here in our city, and I'm going to ask Muriel Williman and Tobin Freed to come up and tell us about it.
That's a tough act to follow, Wayne Drop. Good evening, my name is Tobin Freed, and I'm the City County Sustainability Manager, and I'm excited to be here tonight at the start of Earth Month to share with everyone about our newest efforts to reduce waste in city operations. The city's clerk office has taken the initiative to reduce waste associated with events and meals that it organizes. One of the biggest sources of waste has been disposable plates, cups, and utensils used for city council meals and food waste. As of today, the clerk's office is composting food waste and napkins in partnership with General Services and providing reusable plates, cups, and utensils. I estimate that's approximately 500 plates, cups, and napkins a year and 1,000 utensils that won't end up in the landfill. Many do not know that the waste generated in Durham is taken 100 miles away to Sampson County to be landfilled. While the waste from these events is a very small part of Durham's overall waste, it's an easy step toward a greater impact. The city's roadmap to sustainability has an established goal of reducing waste by 10% per household by 2020 and 50% by 2040. To meet that goal, every household will need to look at what things we are throwing away and how we can do things differently. City Council and the City Clerk's Office are demonstrating one easy way that we can contribute to the solution. I wish everyone a very happy Earth Month and encourage all Durhamites to explore the many events happening this month, including Parks and Recreation's Earth Day celebration on April 28th, to learn more about what each of us can do to have a positive impact on our planet.
Thank you so much, Tobin and Muriel. And to the City Clerk's Office, great job. We ate off of the new plates today, and I actually think we saved more than 500 plates because I happen to know that Mark Anthony uses at least a couple plates every time.
Let's move on, sir.
But that's a great initiative, and Madam Clerk, thank you. Ashley, Diana, we appreciate you. And now I'll ask Mayor Pro Tem to join me for the crop walk proclamation. And I know that Karen Johansson is here. Hey, Karen. And is there anyone else that would like to join you? Okay, well, we're glad to have you.
Thank you. Whereas 50 years ago, at the end of World War II, American citizens wanted to share our country's abundance with European war victims, and CROP's first purpose was to gather wheat and other crops donated by U.S. farmers and send to Europe on friendships. And whereas today, the Durham Crop Hunger Walk has become an important part of community life, bringing together people of different faiths, socioeconomic levels, cultures, and ages to provide local and international hunger aid. And whereas in the last 44 years, the Durham Crop Hunger Walks have raised over $4.4 million that helped and brought hope to people in need here in Durham and around the world. And whereas the Durham Crop Hunger Walk has awarded more than $1 million to local hunger fighting agencies that include the 2018 recipient agencies, Meals on Wheels, Urban Ministries, Housing for New Hope, Double Bucks for SNAP, Threshold Clubhouse, Food Bank of Central and Eastern North Carolina, Families Moving Forward, Open Table Ministries, Partners for Youth Opportunity, St. Andrew's Society, Antioch Builds Community, and Mount Calvary UCC Food Pantry. And whereas the Durham Crop Hunger Walk raised $158,800 in 2018, and whereas the Durham Crop Hunger Walk is the oldest fundraising walk in North Carolina and will hold its 45th annual Crop Hunger Walk on Sunday, April 7th, and whereas the Durham Crop Hunger Walk helps the community become aware of hunger issues and gives community members the opportunity to be part of the solution. And whereas the Durham Crop Hunger Walk is the largest crop walk in the nation out of more than 800 walks, demonstrating the tremendous compassion and dedication of Durham citizens. And whereas Durham Crop Hunger Walk continues to successfully raise funds to end hunger one step at a time. Now, therefore, I, Stephen M. Schul, Mayor of the City of Durham, do hereby proclaim April 7th, 2019 as Durham Crop Hunger Walk Day in Durham, and hereby urge all citizens to take special note of this observance.
Hi, thank you, Councilman and Mayor, Council, and everyone here, because this walk is more than about the people doing the walk. I mean, this is a community event, and we are very excited this year for a couple reasons. I don't know if you caught them while she was reading them, but we have a very special crop walk this year. This is the 50th anniversary of crop walks. So it's a big year for crop walks in general, and it's a big year for Durham because we just found out recently that we are the #1 walk in the country. Mayor Schul mentioned we like being #1. So, and not only is that a great honor, but it means that we are doing a lot for our community and across the world for people who are in hunger. So Durham always pulls together, and I think the crop walk is one of the greatest representations of all of Durham coming together to make a difference. And we want to invite you all to come again April 7th. We start off at Duke Chapel. I want to highlight our shirts from this year. We're a partner with NCCU, one of the graphic arts classes, who designs our shirt logos every year. So thank you to them and all of the many, many partners that we have in Durham. And we have brought T-shirts for all of the council members and staff. So thank you all, and we hope to see you at the walk. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you, Karin. Karin has been volunteering with Crop Walk for a long time and doing a wonderful job, so thank you so much. Our next proclamation, Councilmember Reese is joining me here at the podium for the Farmers Market Week proclamation, and I'm going to ask Stuart White, the president of the Farmers Market Board of Directors, and anyone else from the Farmers Market who is here, or any of our Durham Farmers Markets, to please come on up and join us. Everybody, come on up.
It's good to see you today. Come on up. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. This is going to be a great proclamation. I'm really excited to be able to share this with you. Whereas the state of North Carolina and Durham County have a rich history of agricultural bounty, and whereas farmers markets serve as significant outlets by which local agricultural producers generate revenue that supports the sustainability of family farms, preserves farmland, and revitalizes rural communities. And whereas the Durham Farmers Market has brought the best in fresh produce and other locally grown products to our residents since 1999, and serves as a community hub and tourist destination every week. And whereas the South Durham Farmers Market, the Roots Farmers Market, and the Duke Farmers Market also now operate in Durham, rendering valuable service to Durham's local farmers and to the public. Whereas the Durham Farmers Market's Double Bucks program enables use of electronic benefits transfer technology, or EBT, so that participants in the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, can purchase wholesome fresh food. And whereas the Durham Farmers Markets enable the community to eat local, both at home and at farm-to-table restaurants. Now, therefore, I, Stephen M. Schul, Mayor of the City of Durham, do hereby proclaim the week of April 1st through April 7th, 2019, as Farmers Market Week in Durham, and hereby call upon Durham's residents to join me in recognizing and enjoying the many benefits of farmers markets to our community and to make it a local holiday season by enjoying the bounty of fresh food available at our 2 year-round markets, the Durham Farmers Market and the South Durham Farmers Market. Witness my hand in the corporate seal of the City of Durham, North Carolina, this first day of April 2019.
Well, hi. I just want to say thank you to the council members, to the mayor. Mayor Schul came and met us at the market a few months ago, and we had a great discussion there about the farmers market's place in this community. And thank you to everyone who does show up week after week and supports our small farms, small crafts, small bakeries, all local businesses. And we really appreciate the support. This is our 20th anniversary year. And so we're having a lot of events coming up, and we want to show y'all what we do and to have y'all come out and eat some good, healthy food and take home some good, healthy plants and enjoy the season. So thank you so much.
Right. And finally, we have a National Service Recognition Day proclamation, and I'm going to ask Paula Reif to please come forward, the coordinator of the RSVP program. I'm not sure I've gotten your name right. Was I close? All right. Is it Reif?
It's right.
It's Reif. I'm sorry. Ms. Reif, I apologize. Whereas service to others is a hallmark of the American character, essential to how we meet our challenges. And whereas the nation's elected leaders are increasingly turning to national service and volunteerism as a cost-effective strategy to meet their needs. And whereas AmeriCorps and Senior Corps participants address the most pressing challenges facing our communities. Whereas national service expands economic opportunity by creating more sustainable, resilient communities and providing education, career skills, and leadership abilities for those who serve. And whereas national service programs continue to improve lives and communities in Durham, North Carolina, with 93 AmeriCorps members and 120 Senior Corps volunteers currently serving. Whereas national service participants increase the impact of the organizations they serve, both through their direct service and by managing millions of additional volunteers. And whereas national service represents a unique public-private partnership that invests in community solutions and leverages non-federal resources to strengthen community impact and increase the return on taxpayer dollars. And whereas national service participants demonstrate commitment, dedication, and patriotism by making an intensive commitment to service, a commitment that remains with them in their future endeavors. And whereas the Corporation for National and Community Service shares a priority with local leaders nationwide to engage citizens, improve lives, and strengthen communities, and is joining with the National League of Cities, the National Association of Counties, Cities of Service, and local leaders across the country for National Service Recognition Day on April 2nd, 2019. Now, therefore, I, Stephen M. Schul, Mayor of the City of Durham, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim April 2nd, 2019 as National Service Recognition Day in Durham, and hereby urge and encourage residents to recognize the positive impact of national service in our communities, to thank those who serve, and to find ways to give back to their communities. Witness my hand in the corporate seal of the City of Durham, North Carolina, this, the first day of April, 2019. Ms. Reif.
I first want to introduce a state program officer with the Corporation for National and Community Service, Caroline Simpson, and let her say a few words first.
Thank you, and first, just thank you for issuing this proclamation. Over the last 12 months, over 170 AmeriCorps members have served in Durham County, and these are individuals 18 and older that give a life or a year of their life to serve full-time at a local organization or on a team that travels to different service projects. We also had over 120 volunteers serve through Senior Corps RSVP, which is a program hosted at Durham Tech, and you'll hear from Paula about that, but these are 55 and older adults serving on a weekly basis, sometimes for years and years at a time, all around the community. And I'm a program officer from the Corporation for National Community Service, we administer Senior Corps and AmeriCorps grants. And so I'm always happy to answer any questions or talk to any organizations interested in how our grant application process works. But thank you for just recognizing how serving in a national service year or through a Senior Corps program can really be transformative for the volunteer, the places where they serve that get capacity from those volunteers and the community. So thank you.
And RSVP has actually been sponsored by Durham Tech for 42 years in Durham. So volunteers have been serving, 55 and over volunteers have been serving in nonprofit and public agencies in Durham for a long time. In the past year, we have had 16 volunteers helping with Meals on Wheels, and they have served hundreds, over 200 community members, delivering meals to them, some of them 4 days a week. And we also have got tutors in the schools. We've served over 140 students, tutoring them in the schools this year in Durham Public Schools. We run a volunteer income tax assistance program, so we have over 40 volunteers who prepared over 1,100 returns last year for Durham County citizens, free. So it's a busy time of the year. And we serve over 20 nonprofit and public agencies in Durham. So we have volunteers all over the community serving in ways that are meaningful for them and are having a positive impact for the community. And also this year, we started the Intergenerational Leadership Institute. It's a chapter that was started originally in Penn State. It engages people age 55 and over in a short course learning about developing intergenerational programs and then empowering and encouraging them to be able to not only develop but implement and evaluate programs in nonprofit and public agencies. So we have a focus on intergenerational community coming together and supporting each other. And thank you so much, Mayor Schul, council members, for recognizing national service in Durham, and we appreciate your opportunity to be here.
All right, that completes our ceremonial items. We had a lot of great ceremonial items tonight. I realized when I got started and called the meeting to order, I forgot to offer my traditional welcome. Welcome, everyone. We're very glad to have you here tonight. Sorry I missed that. And now we'll move to announcement by members of the council. Councilmember Reese.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There's a lot going on in our community right now, but I didn't want to let today's milestone pass without noting that the City of Durham's Transportation Department installed and opened the city's first protected bike lane today. It runs along East Main Street, just on the eastern side of downtown. I'm reliably informed that this is somewhere in the neighborhood of the second protected bike lane in the state of North Carolina, but the longest. So congratulations to our transportation staff who worked to make that happen, City Council who has supported multimodal transportation, especially bicycling around the city, and the good folks at Bike Durham who have made this an advocacy priority for them. And just wanted to say congratulations.
That's great. Thank you. I didn't know it opened today, and that's very exciting. Thank you. Other announcements by members of the council? All right. Thank you very much. And now we'll move to priority items. And I'll ask the city manager, are there any priority items?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have any priority items this evening, but it is my pleasure to recognize for you and introduce Ty Littles. Ty, if you could stand up. Ty is actually works at the HUD Greensboro office in the Public Housing Division, but he's a member of their Leadership Executive Development Program. And as a part of that, he is responsible for shadowing local government executives around the state, and he will be shadowing me for a few days this week, beginning at the council meeting tonight. So I wanted to welcome Ty and introduce him. Thank you.
Great, wonderful. Thank you for being here. I will just say that Mr. Bonfield casts a large shadow, so you're going to have a good time.
Be nice.
Oh, man, I thought that was nice. Okay.
Mark Anthony's still grimacing over the.
Let's move on, sir.
It's April Fool's Day, and I can't help myself. Okay. And now, Madam Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also do not have any priority items, but I would also like to make an introduction. Joining us this evening is Baxter Wells, who's over here with city staff. Baxter has been an extern in the Durham City Attorney's Office this semester, working in our office about 10 hours a week since January 9th. He's a second-year law student at North Carolina Central University School of Law and will graduate in May 2020. He serves as the notes and comments editor for NCCU's Environmental Law Review, and he's in the top 10% of his class. And I'm always really excited when bright young attorneys-to-be have a great interest in local government law. Like, that really jazzes us up. He decided to do an externship with the City of Durham to learn a little more about municipal law and procedures. He handled a wide variety of research needs for the attorneys in the office and touched on a number of different areas of municipal law. He's also devoted some of his time with the city to learning about your agenda process and quasi-judicial hearings. And unfortunately, this is his very last week with us. But like the terrific student of municipal law that he is, he's decided to spend his Monday evening at a Durham City Council meeting. And I just wanted to acknowledge that Baxter is with us and welcome him.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much. Madam Clerk, any priority items?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I have no items.
All right, thank you. And now we'll move on to our consent agenda. The consent agenda can be approved by a single vote of the City Council. These are items that we have previously reviewed in work session extensively. Items can be pulled from the agenda by members of the public or members of the council, and if they're pulled, they will be heard at the end of the meeting. I'm going to now read the consent agenda. Item 1, approval of City Council minutes. Item 2, Citizens Advisory Committee appointment. Item 4, Durham City County Appearance Commission reappointments. Item 5, Durham Housing Authority Board of Commissioner appointments. Item 6, Tilleron, Costa Rica Sister City proposal. Let me just note that there are some people here, I believe, from the Sister City group. Could you all stand? Right, we really appreciate you all being here, and we're excited about this new Sister City. So thank you for being here. And we appreciate your getting together since our work session with the members of our Costa Rican community to include them, and that's very exciting. Thank you so much for that. Item 7, FY 1920 Budget Development Guidelines. Item 8, Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, Subrecipient Contract with Housing Authority of the City of Durham, Development Ventures Incorporated for the rehabilitation of the Laurel Oaks Apartments. Item 9, Master Agreements for On-Call Services. Item 10, Conversion of Existing Duke Energy Carolinas DEC Public Street Lights from high-pressure sodium HPS and mercury vapor MV to light-emitting diode LED. Item 11, Contract with Passport Labs, Inc. for cloud-based vendor-hosted integrated parking management software. Item 12, Capital Improvement Project CIP Ordinance Amendment. Item 13, Amendment Number 1, Gilbane Construction Company Construction Manager at Risk Guaranteed Maximum Price, GMP for the Department of Water Management Compliance Services Building. Item 14, Amendment Number 2, Gilbane Construction Company Construction Manager at Risk, Guaranteed Maximum Price, GMP for site work of the development of the Water Management Facility Complex. Item 15, Bid Report, February 2019. Item 16, Design Contract with Kimley-Horn and Associates, Inc. for the R. Kelly Bryant Bridge Trail Project, EB 5720. And this item has been pulled, and we have some speakers to this item. Item 17, Design Contract with Kimley-Horn and Associates, Inc. for the Third Fork Creek Phase 2 Trail Project, EB 5837. This item has also been pulled by the same speakers. We'll pull items 16 and 17. Item 18, Renewable Energy and Carbon Neutrality Resolution. Item 19, Proposed Condemnation of property located at 4003 Fayetteville Road, Durham, North Carolina, and 27713, parcel number 133842 for the Fayetteville Road Improvement Project. Item 20, Full Reimbursement Agreement with Go Triangle Go T for Durham Orange Light Rail Transit DLRT Project Design Review. Item 21, agreement with Center for Documentary Studies to support the Full Frame Documentary Film Festival. Item 22, agreement with American Dance Festival, Inc. to support the FY 18-19 American Dance Festival. Item 23, 2019 National Crime Victims' Rights Week Community Awareness Project Grant Ordinance, and this item has also been pulled, and we have some speakers for this item. And item 24, utility extension agreement with Vista Properties and Homes, Inc. to serve 600 and 618 Linfield Drive. Item 25, contract SWS 70 Bike and Walk Sidewalk 2019. Item 26, utility extension agreement with Crown at 501 Limited Partnership to serve Crown at 501. Item 27, Sesquicentennial Honors Commission presentation. And I'm going to now ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of items 16, 17, and 23.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk, will you please open the vote? Please close the vote. Thank you very much. Now we'll move on to items. Nice when the consent agenda gets applause. Now we'll move on to items 16, and we have three speakers for this item. Heidi Hannipel, Angel Dozier, and Ideal Ortiz. And if you all will come over here to the podium to my right, and we'll begin with Ms. Hannipel, and you have 3 minutes. Heidi. Yeah, I said it. Is Heidi Hannipel here? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and move on to Angel Dozier. Ms. Dozier, welcome, and you have 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Wait just a second. Let's let things clear out, and we'll. Friends, let's go ahead outside of the meeting room so we can get on with our business. Thank you very much.
Just cooling away.
Ms. Dozier, welcome. You have 3 minutes.
Thank
Please
you.
give us your name and address.
My name is Angel Dozier, 815 South Roxborough Street. I am working with Be Connected Durham and in partnership with Extraterrestrial Projects. For agenda items 16 and 17, we ask for a clear commitment to fund community members to co-plan and lead engagement for the R. Kelly Bryant and Third Fork Creek trails within 45 days. This is a right-sized engagement process for a transportation pathway that serves a neighborhood that is over 80% people of color and has a median household income of roughly $10,000, $35,000 a year. The city is the sole developer of this project and therefore has a responsibility to make sure this project serves the purpose for which the federal funds were provided. That is creating transportation, infrastructure, and health benefits for historically disenfranchised residents. This will not happen without the input of the community it is supposed to serve. Communities within the R. Kelly.
Ms. Dozier, could you pull away just a little from the microphone? We're having a hard time understanding you. Thank you.
Could I have my time back?
Yep, you can have a few more seconds.
Communities R. Kelly Bryant Trail passes through have a deep distrust of the government because it has repeatedly made empty promises and invested in capital improvement projects which cause more detriment than benefit. We ask you to be accountable as this project is a chance to disrupt that deep distrust. With the approval of agenda items 16 and 17, we ask for a clear commitment to fund community members to co-plan and lead engagement for the R. Kelly Bryant and Third Fork Creek trails within 45 days. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Dozier. And now we'll hear from Ideal Ortiz. Ms. Ortiz, welcome. Please give us your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Yes, my name is Ideal Ortiz, and I live at 1808 Vale Street, Durham, North Carolina. Several months ago, last year actually, in August, when the mayor made a motion to have an equitable engagement blueprint created for Durham, it unleashed a body of work that was delivered to council on November 20th. And we were really happy as a community to work with your staff on creating that blueprint. Since then, residents of Durham and participants of various commissions interested in this issue have continued to reiterate their support for the blueprint at city work sessions or in emails to see this blueprint fully operationalized and funded. We know that as far back as February, that NIS's community engagement team has created detailed documents which provide specific critical next steps for operationalizing equitable community engagement for City of Durham projects. We as community are eager to see this work made real through a commitment for funding. Funding community-rooted partners who will participate in equitable engagement is important for these two trails along with the Durham Beltline because they are part of a larger systems of trails that are connected. In fact, the Beltline Build Grant does call for extensive engagement in the R. Kelly Bryant Trail footprint where there are vulnerable populations. We look forward to supporting processes that can help the city hit the ground running as soon as the budget process has concluded. And so, Mr. Mayor, the same way in which you unleash such wonderful work to think about the blueprint, right? To think about equitable engagement and to see what values and principles should guide that work through the various departments that are engaged in these things. What I would love from someone on City Council is a motion to do some more brilliant work together and to think about how community along with staff can work on an operational plan that can guide the way these dollars will be used in the coming fiscal year. And so that is what we'd like in this time, 45 days. So we can see you in May.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Ortiz. Is Ms. Hannibal here yet? I don't see her. Oh, there she is. Great. Right on time. Ms. Hannibal, welcome.
Thank
Please
you.
give us your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Heidi Hannibal. I'm at 2404 Prince Street in Durham, and I'm here tonight also to support the council supporting funding for the Community Engagement Blueprint. I am here as a consultant to land trusts, nonprofits in the city, working specifically on community engagement projects, and want to identify the fact that this work takes a lot of time, takes a lot of patience, it takes funding, and I think as we've experienced with the original blueprint, that we have an idea here that we really would like to work with, but it's going to take some time to fund that and to figure out how we're going to put that into place. So as someone who is experiencing this on the ground with other, in communities and learning from those kinds of experiences, it takes time to build that trust, to build those relationships. All of that experience is going to be something that we're looking for the City Council to support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me just ask the speakers, just to be clear, I'm assuming that you're speaking to both items 16 and 17 in this case. And when we get to item 17, will you have other things to say, or are you okay? All right, thank you. Okay, I'm going to ask council members for any comments at this point.
I would love to hear the city manager's feedback on that.
All right, can we hear from staff about the
Mr. Ferguson, we provided this at the work session, but if you want to hear it again, we can say it again.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Bo Ferguson, Deputy City Manager for Operations. So we had a good discussion at the work session about the community engagement plan, the equitable engagement plan for both of these trail projects, both 16 and 17. As we reported then, and I can summarize again for you this evening, had a good staff conversation between a strong team of staff, conversations led and including NIS, planning, Parks and Recreation, General Services, all of whom will collaborate on delivering these two projects and in leading an equitable engagement process. At this time, the budget does not specifically call out funding for community-funded partners, but as we covered for you in the work session, we do have a strong commitment to the ideals that were laid out in the equitable engagement blueprint and intend to use staff resources, especially led by the community engagement staff in NIS, to help implement a plan that follows the core tenets of that blueprint.
Thank you.
Thank you. Council members, comments, questions?
So exactly when would you identify what the funding would look like for this type of outreach?
The two items that are before you this evening represent the funding for the project budget. It does not add additional funding for additional efforts beyond those efforts that are traditionally and have traditionally been led by staff and augmented by the consultants who provide professional design services but are not leading the community engagement efforts. So the budgets, as you see before you, are the intended budget request for these projects.
Excluding any staff costs associated?
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
Excluding? Say again?
Excluding any staff costs associated with the engagement.
Meaning that there's staff who are going to be leading this engagement, and that cost is not included in the cost in the project.
That is correct.
And so I'm concerned that the request that the community is making is that they're actually involved in that outreach. And I just want to make sure that that's being factored into it in the same way that a professional design service is. What Heidi explained is that this outreach is actually a professional service as well that could be provided. And so if there's a way to factor in that cost, I would love to hear what that would look like.
At this time, the project budget does not anticipate those professional services.
Comments, questions?
I have questions.
Councilmember Caballero?
Just to clarify, so the contract before us is just the monies for the design portion of the projects, and that includes consultant fees. But the engagement part would be handled by staff, and that hasn't been fully fleshed out.
That's correct. The staff will be, as we talked about in the work session, the plan for what equitable engagement looks like has been discussed at length. The plan for what equitable engagement for these two particular projects looks like is something that is under development and will continue to be fleshed out in the coming weeks as we move forward with the design process.
And I have some follow-up questions as well.
Please. Go
For
ahead.
the community members who were just here, so the ask from you all is you would like, and this is question, not, okay. You're asking for additional resources to community partners because you're not satisfied with the plan that you're hearing?
I'm going to ask Ms. Ortiz if she would come to the podium and redress that.
Ultimately, what happens is that in order, so I'm going to back up to my own situation with planning, right? And how when presentations are given to our community, there's a lot of information that is left out about how projects unfold or how they will impact a community. And it, in my opinion, hamstrings community to be able to truly think about the possibilities centering their own sense of interest in that community amenity. So activating programs around trails, understanding, you know, there's a learning curve for how people can see themselves programming, participating, or utilizing a resource in community based on how you're engaged with the development of that amenity. And so for the Durham Beltline project, one of the things that I found very lacking with the third party that was contracted to do, for instance, the planning, is that when I asked them about different things, oh, well, you know, tell me about these ideas. Lots of community folks that say they've deposited their ideas don't see that stuff reflected in the plan and don't really know how to continue engaging the process because the people doing that work, they have a technical expertise, not a community engagement expertise. And so that leaves us at a disconnect. And I'm not mad at those folks because these contracts have been given to them and those particular expectations have been bundled in for them in ways that, you know, lead to the result that we have now, which is a sense of people wanting to know, well, where did this project come from? A whole lot is not necessarily explained about, oh, well, this trail was part of this master plan for this area created 10 years ago. It's very hard to keep the story of how these various things come together if you're not the community-rooted partner. If you're just the consultant that's dropping in and out, each of those people starts the story where their contract begins and they end the story where that contract ends. And then there's no continuity of how this is all unfolding. And people are getting 6, 7, 12 surveys from different contractors with all different meetings, all different sets of expectations. People don't see how these projects work together. People don't know where the projects come from.
and it feels a lot like things that get done to you rather than with you, and that's less about the intention and more about just the outcome. So this is just where we're at.
Okay, thank you very
That's a
much.
longer answer than maybe
That's
you
a
would
good answer. Thank you, Ms. Ortiz. Councilmember Caballero, any more questions or comments?
Yeah, I'm just confused because what I'm hearing from staff is that we are not contracting out the community engagement piece, that's actually going to be led by staff. And so I'm just trying to get to the root to it because I'm hearing two different fundamental asks. But and I hear what Ms. Ortiz is saying, but then the process that's been potentially used before is essentially different than what we're going to do with these trails.
That's correct. The process that has been used before is different. There is funding in these contracts for the consultant to support, not to lead, the community engagement effort. But I think staff, following the conversations we had on November 20th when the blueprint was presented from council, I think staff heard from council their expectations for how projects like these two trails, how they should be led and what values you want reflected in that process. And so we have designed a process that we think for these projects is the appropriate scale to implement those values. A consultant who is working on the design of the project will be assisting us, but they will be assisting us, not leading us, and we intend for staff to be the primary face and the primary interface with the communities that we'll be serving. Again, I think drawing heavily on the expertise of the Neighborhood Improvement Services staff who have dedicated staff for this type of work.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Councilmember Reese.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to follow up on something that some of our speakers talked about, and that is the involving community partners in the outreach around the Equitable Engagement Blueprint. Had a good conversation with Ms. Ortiz this afternoon and really appreciated her taking the time to talk to me about her concerns here. And what I explained to her then, and I'll explain to folks now, is that from my perspective, the process of figuring out what the Equitable Engagement Blueprint looks in application or as operationalized is still very much being figured out by staff, still a work in progress. And how and to what level we fund that work is going to be the critical question, one of the many critical questions in the ongoing budget process. And it's my intention to make sure that part of the process of the Equitable Engagement Blueprint as applied first in its full form to the Durham Beltline, but then subsequent to similar infrastructure projects throughout the city, that be funded at a level necessary to get the kind of engagement that we need to make sure that we are doing what the people who live near these projects want done. And to my mind, that will include some level of using community partners to help us in that effort. And I think whether that means the city engages with these folks directly, if it means that we direct the design architects to work with local partners, I don't know how that process works. I'm sure staff's looking into all those issues as well. But I think for me, that's going to be one of the things that I look at when I review whether this ends up living in general services or in NIS, whatever budget department it shows up in. That'll be kind of the hallmark of success for me. Is this funded at a level to truly generate the relationship that we need between the people that live in and around these projects and the projects themselves and the city that's proposing to create them. Number one, is the funding sufficient? And number two, is there that critical aspect of working with community partners, not just as let's work with you and get feedback, but let's hire you to do some of the critical engagement work in the community where you live. So that's kind of just wanted to take another step forward into where I think the budget process is headed, and where I think the Equitable Engagement Blueprint can really live to its full potential. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Freeman, do you have another comment?
I do. I appreciate Councilmember Reese's comments and Councilmember Caballero. I also want to just highlight that I'm recognizing that the R. Kelly Bryant Bridge is in a specific space in Durham, and if the thought process is that you conduct this project without community actually involved in the process. And that's not just recognizing that, that they know what's happening to them. It is actually like asking the questions and getting their feedback along the way in the same way that you would hire a consultant to do for design. I'm concerned that the project will do exactly what it's done in the past, which is to disenfranchise the people that live the closest to it. And so I will give an example in stating that on East Main Street, we now have these devices that for the bicycles, but how much of Odom Tower was involved in that conversation? And it just, I mean, it's not to say that it's wrong or it's not, but it's just like, if we're doing this equitable engagement process, you have to do it in a way that makes sure that the people who are closely linked, the people who will be directly impacted are involved in the conversation, period. And I don't know how you do it without setting it as a parameter from the beginning, because it's almost like by instinct, it's just gonna run the way that it's been running. And so I hear what Mr. Ferguson is saying, and that, you know, this is something that staff would be able to work with NIS and this, that, and the other. What I don't hear is how there's a value in what the people who live around that R. Kelly Bridge would be involved in it. And that's what concerns me.
All right, thank you. Any other comments?
Mr. Mayor, I do.
Councilmember Milton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thanks so much for the friends who came out and spoke tonight. If the engagement is going to be funded and assured and safeguarded, then we're the people to do it. So I think many of us up here, all of us up here really, I think we're elected with an understanding that this council in particular is sensitive to communities that have had things done to them as opposed to with them and in consultation. I do want to ask a question about the 45-day threshold and what that would actually look like. In 45 days, X amount of money to a certain amount of good. I'm wondering what the thinking and what was envisioned that would happen if we were so inclined.
I'm so glad you're letting me clarify that. It's not 45 days money in hand. It's 45, the same way that the staff and community were given 90 days to work together to create the blueprint, which would provide the principles and values guiding equitable engagement in the future for these kinds of projects. We'd like another 45 days to officially work together so we can bring forward, much like there was a presentation about the blueprint, a presentation on how this can be operationalized. I know that there are concerns that Mr. Bonfield very smartly brings up about the nuts and bolts, and Mr. Reese as well, the nuts and bolts of how you do this in-house so that it is done well, because this is kicking off a framework for how things may be for some time to come. And so this would give us, I think, due pressure, right, to get together. I know that NIS is already talking about it. There are some things that have already been begun working on. And I'd like the opportunity for community to get in there just like we did before with the departments and provide some insight onto what might work, what might not work, and putting together a plan to operationalize this so that y'all can have it at a work session before you have to vote on next year's budget. And that's the intent. So this wouldn't be asking for the money in May. This would be making sure that you had access to a plan that staff had worked on for operationalizing this.
Relative to these two particular?
To trails in the future, bike ped trails and park infrastructure in the future, which is the scope of what the blueprint is trying to do.
Sure. Do you think that the plan that was brought, the 90-day one iteration with regard to the belt line, are there not some universals that are applicable in that, you think, that could be relevant right now to?
They absolutely can be. I'm just saying that this is, if the concern that keeps coming up is we need to figure out the nuts and bolts, then let's figure out the nuts and bolts.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Ortiz. Thank you, council member. Council members, another person has signed up to speak on this item. However, they did not put their name. Is there someone else who meant to put their name and they signed up on this item? Please come to the podium and identify yourself. And you have 3 minutes.
Council members, Mayor Pro Tempore, Mayor. My name is Kristen Gorman. I am a member of DOS and also a citizen of Durham. I live on Mill Spring Drive in the Crowsdale area. So these projects do not affect me as a community member, but they do affect me as a citizen. I wanted to just raise, I guess, consciousness of an email that was sent, I think, to everyone today by Dave Connolly, the chair of DOST. In that email, there was a resolution recently passed by Durham Open Spaces and Trails concerning equitable engagement in planned trail routes, including the Beltline, R. Kelly Bryant, as well as the Third Fork Creek extension. So I don't have time to go over all of it, and I'm sure you'll be very grateful for that if you've read it. It's rather long, but basically it begins with DOST advocates for the benefits of trails for its citizens. I'll try to give you the highlights. And let's see, I think another important part of this resolution is, whereas to address lack of representation and input in the communities the project is intended to serve, and for which the city received federal funding to create the master plan, City Council requested a Beltline Equitable Engagement Blueprint be created within 90 days, simultaneous with the adoption of the Durham Beltline Master Plan, August 6, 2018. And actually relevant to your point, Mr. Middleton, whereas siloed community engagement for each proposed trail would create inefficiencies and waste city resources when addressing shared underlying issues of displacement driven by a public investment in green infrastructure without the simultaneous protection of marginalized communities. And whereas page 5 of the Durham Beltline Equitable Engagement Plan prioritizes the deployment of resources to historically underrepresented communities expressly focused on renters, low-income homeowners, communities of color, and persons with limited English proficiency. Whereas despite the explicit mandate for funding in the blueprint, equitable engagement has not been funded or included in staff work plans. Whereas the RFP for the Beltline design was released on March 6th with a closing date of April 4th, 2019, without any additional community engagement. Despite the explicit mandate for funding in the blueprint, the RFP for the R. Kelly Bryant and Third Fork Creek, oh gosh, okay. Is that all my time? Oh, I didn't even get to the resolved part.
Well, we appreciate your being here. We've all got the email, and I know most of us have read it and appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay, council members, any other comments or questions? I'll just comment that I appreciate the speakers very much for being here. I think that we will, you can be assured that we'll be holding our staff accountable for having an equitable engagement plan around these trails, as we will for all of our trails, including the Beltline. What I hear from staff is that staff will be developing this plan. They will be leading the development of it, potentially with some assistance from the consultants, and we'll be counting on our staff to lead a plan that is truly inclusive in the ways that you all have described. We are serious about equitable engagement. We're serious about the plan that was approved, that the staff brought to us. We thought that the staff did a great job of working with community to create that plan, and we know that our staff takes our plans very seriously, and we'll be paying a lot of attention to make sure that that's true. Okay, any other comments or questions? If not, I'm going to ask for an motion on item 16.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We authorize the city manager to negotiate and execute the amendments and so forth for item 16, to execute the contract to establish a contingency fund. Madam Clerk, please open the vote. Please close the vote.
And the motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. And for item 17, design contract with Kimley-Horn and Associates.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. We approve item 17. Madam Clerk, please open the vote. Please close the vote.
And the motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. And we'll be looking forward to hearing from staff as these projects are moving forward about the equitable engagement, and I'm sure that we will, and look forward to our community continuing to be in touch with us about it. So thank you for being here. All right, we'll now move on to item 23. Item 23 has three people who have signed up to speak: Mr. Miguel Staton, Mr. Rob Belcheck, and Mr. Dennis Garrett. And if you all could please come over here to my right. Mr. Staton, welcome. You have 3 minutes. And please give us your name and address.
Name's Miguel Staton, address 922 Almore Drive, Durham, North Carolina. Being that this is National Crime Victims Week, I thought I would come back just so that the City Council could remember what the face of a victim looks like. Still struggling with the death of my nephew, DeAndre Ballard. The autopsy report was finally released today. And of course, DeAndre being the true victim of this crime, as my family was told, back in November 28th, Mr. Mayor, you did an interview right outside this building and said we were waiting for toxicology reports to come back from the SBI lab. On this autopsy report here, the toxicology report was done on DeAndre on September 27th. 7 months. I'm the victim of a crime. DeAndre is a victim of a crime. The district attorney, even right now, is refusing to even speak about the case because it's been so poorly handled by the city police department. It's just to the point where, I mean, at this point, what could you point me in the right direction? Does my family need to ask the Department of Justice to step in and do an investigation of the handling of this case?
I can point you in a direction, Mr. Staton. First of all, I want to say, again, I completely understand and feel for you, and we all mourn the death of your nephew, and any loss like that is a tragedy for our whole community. So I want to first express that to you. Our police department turned over everything that they knew about this a long, long time ago to our district attorney and to the state a long time ago. As you and I have discussed pretty recently, I guess maybe 2 weeks ago, the district attorney has had this information for quite a long time, and they have not issued, neither the previous district attorney nor the current district attorney that I'm aware of has issued any statement about this. My suggestion to you is that you talk to them about issuing a statement about whether or not, what decision they have made. This is not...
As of this evening, district attorney will not release a statement until Ernisha Ballard releases a statement.
Okay, well, that's the mother of the...
Right, but why should Ernisha have to release a statement before the district attorney does her job to complete the case?
I can't speak for the district attorney, but I do know that one concern is for the privacy of the family, and the mother is the person who is the most directly involved at this point. And I've spoken to the district attorney, and I know that she has been in touch with the mother, as has the chief of police.
Mr. Mayor, she has once.
Okay.
That Monday night, we came and spoke about it. That Tuesday morning, that Monday night when the chief stood up here and said she turned it over, she said she turned it over in December. That Monday night at that meeting when we spoke, after we spoke about it.
Yes, sir.
Tuesday morning, everything all of a sudden appeared. Oh, now we have it. So from December, from when she said she turned it over till March, it was just, the case just was in limbo.
Okay. I'm going to say again, Mr. Staton, and this will be the end of it, and I appreciate your being here, but...
Well, no, it's hard to believe what's being said by anyone, Mr. Mayor. You're telling us things that are not true. the chief is telling us things that are not true. I mean, we're the citizens of Durham. If we can't trust you,
Mr.
if we
Staten,
can't trust
I'm
the
gonna
chief
tell
of
you the
police, who can we trust?
I'm gonna
If
tell
you
you,
want us to work with you for us solving crimes here in Durham, and y'all not doing the same for us.
I'm gonna tell you one more time. This will be the end of it. I'm happy to talk to you offline, you know, after the meeting. Call me. You have my number. Our chief and our department turned over everything, everything that they had to the district attorney many months ago. Our district attorney, neither the previous attorney nor the current attorney, district attorney, has yet made a statement. I know that our current district attorney, District Attorney DeBerry, has said that she needed the permission of the mother before she would make a statement. I endorse that, and I think you need to take that up with her. So thank you for being here, Mr. Staten, and feel free to call me about it if you'd like to. And I'm happy to talk to the district attorney for you again if you'd like me to. All right, thank you very much. Next up, we'll have Mr. Rob Belcheck. Mr. Belcheck, welcome. You have 3 minutes.
How you doing? Robert Belcher.
I'm sorry.
That's fine.
My bad.
It's all good. Mayor, council members, I don't really have any questions. It's more of here to bring awareness to what's going on. I saw a commercial talking about why Durham is such a great place to live, and we got a lot of people moving in. And I'm from Durham, Hardest Street, Cheat Road area. I'm here to bring awareness to what's going on. These murders, we've had 16, 17 murders as of 2019. And I'm an activist / I'm a realist at the same time. A lot of these murders and crime period is coming from pretty much mental health, and then the other part is just not having jobs for these people, and then the other part is not having something for the kids to do. When I say jobs, I mean jobs for guys and women that are coming home from prison that have records. A lot of places won't hire you depending on what you have on your background, and it makes it difficult. So I'm spreading awareness of let's get more jobs for these people that made mistakes. We've all made mistakes, whether it was spilling milk or spilling whatever, but it's just didn't get caught. So the people that did caught doing something wrong, or the woman that did get caught stealing diapers for her kid because she couldn't get a job because she has a record, I'm an advocate for those people. I'm also reaching out and speaking on behalf of the people that just can't speak and don't know what to say. There are people that want to go back to school. We have people that live in certain places that the police patrol every now and then. It's a real situation out here. And it's a lot of funding going on, and I hear a lot about programs, but why have all these programs and you got people getting killed? Why are people wanting to come move here and we haven't taken care of this crime situation? We had a guy murdered yesterday, broad daylight. We had a guy shot a week before that while he was riding on Fellow Street with his child and her mother. So we're seeing these things. We had a guy shoot 46 times, not shoot somebody, but actually shot 46 shots last week. But this is going on. So I guess what I'm asking for, the only question I'm asking is there any way we can have more boots on the ground? Me, being where I'm from, I do understand you ain't gonna cause no trouble if you see the police if they're there and they're visible, more visible. So if we can do something to have more boots on the ground, or if we can back the people that are actually boots on the ground, let's do that. Because it's time, time's running out, and my time running out, but it would be different, if one of you were at a stoplight and this guy over here has an issue with that guy, he shoots at him, you catch a stray bullet. It's gonna be a problem. So I'm speaking for those people that don't have these seats, but they still live in Durham.
Thank you, Mr. Belcher. Mr. Belcher, really appreciate your comments. One thing that's I wanted to say is that so far this year, I believe there have been 10 murders, not 16, 10 homicides. Any one homicide is one too many. And so the exact number is not as important as the fact that we all know that. And I appreciate you being here and bringing this all to our attention. We do have a request from our chief for more officers that we'll be considering in our budget.
72.
So that'll be part of our budget considerations, but I wanted you to know that. And we just very much appreciate you bringing this to us, and everything you say is absolutely right in terms of jobs and so forth, and we all need to be committing ourselves to that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I had a question.
Councilmember Freeman?
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify, you mentioned boots on the ground, and I just wanted you to clarify whether you meant that was officers or others,
No.
or both.
Actually, officers. It's just different when you have, just bottom line, I've been out there before and was about to do something, and we see all those officers over there, man, we'll do it another day. Just being more visible and not in the car. I mean, let's get out, let's walk. I'll walk with them, just whatever the case may be. Nobody's gonna cause no trouble. You have an officer right there. And I'm just saying, if we're gonna get these extra 72 that the chief is asking for, let's get out these cars, let's walk. We'll worry about the dirt bikes and all that other stuff later. Right now, we got guys dying and we got people retaliating because of guys dying. And when the summer get here, God forbid, it's gonna get worse.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks for being here, Mr. Belcher. Mr. Dennis Garrett. Mr. Garrett, welcome. Please give us your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Love and respect. My name is Dennis Garrett, and I stay at 1801 Ange Avenue. And I had no idea that Robert was going to come and speak pretty much on what I'm going to talk about. But the first thing you said to me is, I got 3 minutes. You just spent 17 minutes on a bridge. We talking about lives. What we talking about? Like, we do an annual Take Back the Streets March, and we do that. Last Friday, we invited every one of you to an event over at my building where we was talking about the solution. Like, in order to take down a New York gangster, you need a New York gangster. Like, so and I don't want to attack y'all because I want to try and be humble. However, in being humble, I'm tired of watching my fellow Americans die, because we sit in a board meeting and we have a discussion behind the board, and by the time we come before the public, there's a decision already made. Like, what do we need to do as far as community partnership? We talk about community partnership. Community partnership involve you. Community partnership involve you. When are you gonna come out in the community when it's not election time, and let's find out what's going on to get to the solution? Like, there's a lot of parks and recreations are being shut down that our kids ain't got nothing to do. They got nothing to do. So what's the solution? Like, we do the Stop the Violence. All these different agencies are doing Stop the Violence. Robert, I appreciate what you're doing in the community. Randy just left, but there's a lot of agencies. When are we gonna partner up with one another, come together as a whole? When are we, like the first responders, we wanna do a kickoff against violence where the first responders, the police department, the sheriff department, the chief of the police was at the venue last week. The sheriff was at the venue. The district attorney, the judges, they were at the venue. Thank you, Deidreana, for being there. She was at the venue. Like, we want to know, what's the solution? The solution ain't going out sending people to do surveys. And, we spending a lot of money on those surveys. Let's put that money in our community. Let's take time to find out what's really going on in the community. Like, you don't know that as you push these people away, eventually Durham, the city, is going to be, the crime ain't discriminating where it come from. They'll knock on your door too. So what we're trying to do is stop violence as a whole so that you can take your kids to the mall. You can take your kids to the park and enjoy the park. So what can we do as a whole? Like, I want to partner up with the county. I want to partner up with the city. I want to know these funds, the budget is coming down. How do we really apply for the budget? How do we really apply for the funds? Every one of you up there know who we are and what we're doing. And a pat on the back ain't the answer. Just giving me 3 minutes to tell you how I feel ain't the answer. So I'm inviting you all out on April the 26th at 6:30 at 1607 Angie Avenue at Tati's place, so that everybody can be allowed to talk about the solution. Like, the money that we're spending, like, let's spend it to where it matters. And I'm not saying that what you got going on don't matter, but what I'm talking about, don't our lives matter?
Thank you, Mr. Garrett. I appreciate you being here. And we hear you, and I look forward to getting the invitation to the event on the 26th. And I'm sure my colleagues will as well.
I gave you one, the previous one, and the one before that. I keep giving invitations, but there's always something that come up that's more important than you coming out to really see what's going on. You don't got to look at me that way, because the truth is what it is.
Mr. Garrett, I've been to your place 10 times, and I'll come 10 more. And I'll look.
Okay, I'm gonna hold you to that, because election time's coming up
Mr. Garrett, what
I'm
time
not
did you
worried
say on
about
the
an
26th,
election.
sir?
Thank you.
at 6:30.
6:30 p.m.?
6:30 p.m.
Great.
At 1607 Angie Avenue.
I look forward to getting that invitation. All right. Council members, you've heard the speakers on item 23, and I'm going to accept a motion on that item.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk, please open the vote. Please close the vote.
And the motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. There being no other business to
Mr.
come.
Mayor, before you do close, I do want to highlight, I let it go because, I didn't feel like it was necessary, but I think it's good to highlight that the project that we actually went to the ribbon cutting on Saturday highlights how we do partner and what partnership does look like in our community. And I just want to make sure folks understand that this is not something we just talk about as a board. It's really something that we do. And so I just want to make sure that we figure out a way to include the folks who feel like they're not a part of that conversation in a better way.
Thank you very much, Council Member. Any other comments? If not, no other business there being no other business to come before this body, we are adjourned at 8:20.